right, good morning. Monday morning. Wireframes were missing. Put on the blue blockers. There we go. All right. So, let me see here. I got an alert for my hourly, 9 o'clock, Monday morning. A couple days before Christmas. This is probably the last trading day of the week for me. More than likely. Let me see here. Got a funeral to go to. Here, let's see here, in about an hour. That was a long signal. My overriding hourly is a long. Bitcoin is 89, so Bitcoin went up overnight. Last night we were trading at 88. Let's do a couple things. I'm gonna leave that one alone for now. Let's double check our VMAX just to make sure that we've got our filter matching 30 seconds. High frequency trader bias filter matching at 30 seconds. That's a very important step. Alright, so my bias is probably going to be for the long, but here's the thing is, inside of an hourly time frame, a lot can happen, right? So maybe we're getting this. That's why down in the smaller time frames you can get a more accurate read. So maybe we're gonna be open to some sell positions. Maybe we're not. Right now we're getting some price action, but we're not in alignment with the SMAX sentiment regime, right? So move this up here, get rid of that, maybe move that there. I don't know. Still working on how to set up for this. If I go to protected position, it shifts the screen, right? All right, so what we're looking for here is, I think the fact that I have to leave soon is probably one of the better videos for you business owners, because you've got stuff going on, right? Stores getting ready to open, deliveries coming in, you've got a meeting. You know, you got to interview somebody, whatever the case may be. And so the question is like, well, do I have time for this? Well, do you have time not to increase your cash flow? Are things ever going to settle down? Are you ever not going to have a meeting? Are you ever not going to have a delivery? Are you ever not going to have a payroll to process? Well, maybe if you're closed, right? Maybe if you're out of business, maybe if you're retired. And you know, that's great. This will work when you're retired. But it'll work better if you've been doing it at least part-time before you were retired. So right now we're at 4 minutes 35 seconds. I haven't seen a trade, but we're getting some evidence that maybe we're that long, you know, evidence up here in the VMAX. Okay, again, VMAX, I kind of reserve the VMAX for the mentoring people. The rest of people who, you know, don't want to actually invest in themselves more, I'm not really going to invest in, you know. But the VMAX is telling us right now several things I noticed. One, the downside market is shrinking. I saw that a minute ago. I should have mentioned it. And also the continuation of the upward market is building. And then guess what's happening? That's also coming. That's showing here, but I saw it over here. Okay. Now, so we're hopefully we're going to get an opportunity to jump into a trade. Took me a little bit longer. I saw that alert at 9 o'clock, right? So that would have been that. I got the hourly alert. This was that's 9:01 right here. I got that hourly alert for upward motion here, and because I'm still in my recuperation stage, it took me, you know, it was really slow. I'm function really slow, and I was watching a YouTube video related to some health stuff. So hopefully I can get in front of that. And apparently I am doing significantly better than my peers in this recovery. But because of that delay, I missed this move. I could have, if I had gotten here, if I'd been able to, boom, been 9 o'clock, I got the alert. You know, I'm on the chart by 9:03. Then I'm gonna get that 9:04. There's a 9:03 and 30 seconds, right? 9:03 right there. So if I get in here 3-4 minutes, I catch this, I get a trade, and I'm done for the next several hours until I go do what I'm going to do. You know, it's Christmas time. A lot of stuff's going on, but I'm slow, so now I'm in a little bit of a lag, and that's okay. Guess what? I'm in a little bit of a lag. Maybe I won't get a trade on this session. You know, maybe a customer's not going to come in and make your biggest sale in the next 30 minutes. Maybe that your biggest customer of the day is going to come in tonight, this afternoon at 4:30. Are you going to lock the doors now and go home and pout because you didn't get that big sale? No, you're going to keep the doors open. Same thing here, all right? All right. Now, it looks like we're maybe getting a little bit of play. So I'm going to go ahead and, that's a price action. So I'm not trying to move on price action. I need the signal, right? I need the buy signal. I need to make sure that I maintain this here, which I probably am. Stay blue. We're building here some price action, and then I'm gonna wait for that signal and wait for that little triangle. Okay. Now, because I understand the VMAX, and those of you who have learned to use VMAX, you don't have to wait. There it is. Now, a little bit of drawdown. I want this level here. I want to go through a level that it's already been at recently. And that's $512. Stop loss. Now, I personally, they say 1-to-1. That's a good balance. Okay, that's who are they? The people. Okay. I typically will do it 3 times. Now, ironically, that puts me down here out of recent, I gotta move this. Sorry, guys. That's 2,500. That's a little too deep. 1,000. That's 16. There we go. 1,600. All right. There I am at 14 ticks. Look at that. Okay, there it is. That's what you need to do. I just made $500 right in front of your face. You saw it with your own eyes. And now that's a heck of a way to start a day, right? You didn't see that guy that was just, lamenting about his health, getting ready to go to a funeral. You didn't see that happening, but I knew, and I could have made more. Now, I personally am what you would consider a scalper, right? Just get me a little clip and let me get out, because anything can happen now, right? Time tends to be your enemy in the markets. There's a lot more time for people to manipulate things and play dirty tricks. So if you can get in, get out. And I'll do that multiple times throughout the day. Typically, I've been recording my trading sessions for the last couple of weeks. Every trade, every day, I turn this thing on. It's my methodology of journaling. So that what may end up happening is I may end up not sharing these trades, because the conversation is distracting for me, right? So, but the journaling, the video is not. Like, look, here we go. We're probably gonna get a retracement, a pullback, right? How do I know that? Well, look closely at this candle. See that little wick to the downside? That's a little now that might have been all it was. It may go more, but it might not. That's something you got to watch. Those wicks, sometimes that is the pullback, and sometimes that's a hint that the pullback is beginning. Like over here, that candle right there wicked, and that one wicked to the bottom. That was the pullback. and then the continuation came, right? And here, this one here, this was the wick to the upside, right? That wick to the upside was the start of that motion. Okay, so it's a touchy thing that you need to be aware of. Okay, it could go either way. It's indecision. It's a cautionary tale, right? Here we go. We got another wick to the downside here, and there's the pullback starting. Okay, now how deep will that go? As you watch these markets, several things can happen. It could be deep, it could be sudden, it could come all the way back down here right now, or it could be short. But you end up seeing patterns. I don't believe in learning the patterns and trading the patterns, but being aware that being aware that you should keep an eye out for patterns, and so you have some. And no, don't trade on patterns. Don't make your decisions on patterns. But because I would hate to say, well, it's going to go down here now just because what do you call that? This or I don't know, something about a stove top or stovepipe reverse, something. I don't even bother to keep track of these things completely. But listen, $512. We were in the trade. These are 30-second candles. We got in one candle, and we were out 2 candles later, so about a minute and a half. And that's listen, that limitation on that $512. If I make the same exact trade this time next year, I'll trade with a bigger position, right? So that 512 would be probably more likely at least by next year doubled. So now that's $1,024 trade, right? A year later, the account's grown. Actually, because of compounding, it probably won't even take a year. But let's just use a year for, now that same exact trade makes a difference depending on your account size and then how much you position, right? So how most people blow their trades accounts and fail is they aren't not patient enough to increase that size. This account that I'm trading on has plenty of room, and I'm intentionally growing it relatively slowly. If you call 20K a month slow, that's what I'm doing. A year from now, that's probably going to double. A year after that, that'll double. As my position size increases, a few days ago, I added one position to my trading size. I was trading one position, then I went to 3, then I went to 5. That took me about 8 months. Why did I go so slow? Because I wanted to have zero emotional response to the change. I want to be so accustomed to seeing a little bit of a drawdown that it didn't faze me. Now I've created that tenacity, right? You know how it is. You've been in business long enough. You know when an educated customer comes through the door. You teach your employees how to respond to their specific needs. Same thing here. Okay, so you develop that emotional resiliency and that tenacity. So then I went from 5 about 2 months, a month ago, I guess. I have a real hard time with it. Since I started trading again back in October, after the wheelchair days. Surgery was in May. Got back on the charts in October. In October, when I started trading, okay, so I guess, I went from 3 to 7. Last week I went to 8. Now I'll probably run with that 8 into around Valentine. There it is. See, that came down. That was it didn't do it exactly in the, but that is your experience. What you're seeing there is the theory of reflexivity. Sentiment happens. The mood was up, right? But then this right here, this was some institutional stuff. this was not your retail market. This was institutional profit taking. And so they saw this and they're like, yeah, we're going to grab this. Now, that caused a retail panic, a retail sell-off, right? Because that fed that. And then this also, these big quick moves like that, that's always institutional. Nobody moves the market like that. Now, you might get a big panic and everybody wants out. So what's happening here is this right here was profit taking, which fed this. When then this got fed again because like everyone's like, well, you know, is the retail panic coming? So people see people running that way, they run that way. People see people selling off, they sell off. Now, the next thing is, because we're still in this environment, this may not change, so we might get a comeback up into this range here. Yeah, more likely we're going to be there. We're going to get a pullback to the upside, right? Why do I say that? I'm looking at the VMAX. I move my camera, and when I move my camera, I notice it because I've got this little thing going on with it. You know, I tilt my head, and I don't know if I like that look. Vanity. There it is. See, a little bit of a pullback. Told you. VMAX. $500 and a whole bunch of years of experience coming at you, as well as thousands of hours of screen time. There's people I haven't seen in 10 or 12 years come, and they're like, you still do that? Yeah, I remember we used to do that when you lived next door to us. We'd come over and you had those lines on your computer screen. Young my kids' friends, right? I'm like, yep. These lines on this screen pay me. Okay, I'm not sure that I gotta go get ready, guys. Talk to you soon.